Alright, soldier. This next mission is gonna be a doozy. It's gonna test your spirit and will be dangerous to the core. You have to have your wits about you to be in tip-top physical condition to display grace under fire.
Excuse me? Pardon me? Just a quick question.
Yes, cadet?
Do I really have to wear this thing?
Pull yourself together. If you're gonna be a princess, you gotta dress like one.
But how am I supposed to do any platforming in these heels? I mean, I can barely stand up straight.
Ugh, you're a disgrace to the uniform.
How you doing, everyone? It's your old pal Jim here, and we're going to be talking about something that has me way more excited than I ever expected it to have me be. We're going to be talking about Princess Peach Toadstool.
Oh, boss! I seem to recall you mentioning something about names in the last video, particularly the name of a certain princess that's named after a fruit and fungus.
Oh my god. Are we doing this now?
Seems like the perfect opportunity to me.
You know what? Fine. Let's do it. I can't argue with that. Let's get this over with. Princess Peach first appeared in the game Super Mario Bros. Released in 1985. She was always named Princess Peach in the instruction manual over in the original Japanese release, but when it came to port it to the West, things were localized, which included her name. So for some reason, they renamed her to Princess Toadstool. And it was pretty much that way up until 1993 when that SNES Super Scope exclusive game Yoshi's Safari came out, where she's referred to as Princess Peach for the first time here in the West in the instruction manual. If Knights taught me anything, it's that the instruction manual contains all of the juicy lore back in the day, because they don't do that anymore as far as I can tell. But, you know, back then, apparently that is the only place to find essential and vital information. But what do you mean that thing is a dragon? I always thought it was a duck!
I'm gonna get this freaking duck away from me!
Oh, and you remember the Super Scope, right? Nintendo's light gun bazooka thing that was like the hottest thing at the time? Oh yeah, so hot that it had about 13 compatible games, with hits such as Yoshi's Safari, Terminator 2, the arcade game, Tin Star, and not to mention the unforgettable hit, the 1993 to 1994 United States hearings on video games. Platinum seller right there. Anyways, it provided to be a smidge confusing in regards to the princess's name, since for a few years in various published media like magazines, instruction manuals, comics, it would just flip back and forth between Peach and Toadstool. That is until 1994 with the release of Super Mario 64, Mario's first step into the third dimension. In the game itself, not in the instruction manual, she uses both names as one.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
And henceforth, from that day, she was fully known as Princess Peach Toadstool of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Bravo, boss. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you could be a robot yourself with that kind of knowledge.
Oh, no. Don't give me any credit. I've got a ton of knowledge, sure, but it's mostly really niche stuff, like the history of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, Ghostbusters, and specifically the Constitution-class starship in Star Trek.
Oh, okay. You're just a nerd. Got it.
Can't you just ever say something nice? A compliment? A genuine one? Not call me a nerd? No? Okay. Anyways, Peach is getting a brand spanking new game coming this March, and I felt as though it was very important to talk about it. Because you see, female and female presenting leads are a lot more common now, more so than ever before in all sorts of games, and I think that's a great change of pace. Women as main characters? The focal point of a story? What kind of made-up hoo-ha is this? Women belong in the kitchen and popping out babies like glorified Pez dispensers. Chip? What in Sam Hill is that?
Oh, hey, you found that possessed radio from Old Earth 1950.
Oh, that explains everything. Would you mind telling me what is it doing here and why is it being a dingbat against women?
Well, boss, as you may or may not know, hubs like this one have access to all sorts of portals that are connected to countless worlds, virtual and otherwise.
Right. I know that bit. I mean, I've been brushing up on the user manual that's more like a tome rather than a manual. I mean, no joke, I could use this as a blunt weapon if I had the arm strength.
It's a hefty boil, right? So, since our hub isn't exactly state-of-the-art, we occasionally experience minor side effects due to those portals. Sometimes, things leak through.
Oh, good? Does that mean we're gonna be getting more of these ancient-sounding headaches?
Hey, I resemble that remark. At least I'm not a woman.
Still have not answered why he's like that.
I have no answer for that, boss. Maybe it's because it's a literal product of its time.
Bingo! You win a prize!
Oh, great. A grating misogynistic radio. Just what I always wanted.
It sounds like you could use a smoke. Why not try Lucky Strike cigarettes? 10 out of 12 doctors recommend it.
Wait, well, hold on a second. Why is it sentient? Can you at least tell me that?
I don't know. Science reasons?
My onboard computer, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you radio thing. Can you do me a favor and not interject during this video? I'd like to get through it without having to regret things that come out of your... Okay, not a mouth, the speaker thing.
Aw, ain't that a bite? Don't worry, Skipper. I won't get on your case for being a wet rag. I'll be here in case you want to shake, rattle, and roll.
I have no idea what you said, but okay then? Thanks, I think. So yeah, anyways, I think female main characters are awesome. I mean, I would even go as far as say that I like girls. So imagine my excitement when Nintendo, after nearly 20 years of giving Princess Peach her own game, announced that she's finally getting another one. Princess Peach Showtime. It honestly looks like a lot of fun. It's really nice to see Princess Peach finally branch out a little more. Now, that's not to say she hasn't been in countless games up until this point, but none of them were really having her as a main character. She was just kind of off on the side or a choosable character. She was never the main focus of a game. And oh boy, don't get me started on Daisy. I mean, we're lucky when Nintendo remembers that she actually exists. So I figured in light of that, it would be a great opportunity to play a game that I totally missed out on when it first came out back in 2005. Super Princess Peach for the Nintendo DS. The game starts us off by introducing the new area we'll be exploring for the entire game, by the name of Vibe Island, a place that is said to hold a great power.
Not a vibe! Not a vibe!
Not that kind of vibe. So, of course, Bowser decides to build a whole summer villa on it. Oh yeah, great idea, Bowser. I heard there's this ring that you can, rule them all with, so let me build a cabin right on Mount Doom. Anyways, Bowser hears about an item called the Vibe Scepter that's somewhere on the island, so he has his cronies scouring the land until they finally find it. They hand it off to a Goomba so that they can infiltrate the Mushroom Kingdom and use it to help capture, no, not Princess Peach, but Mario, Luigi, and Toad.
Wait, why Toad?
I don't know. I suppose if you've got a voice like that, you deserve to be in jail. Surprisingly enough, everything goes according to plan. Okay, well, almost. They got as far as kidnapping Mario, Luigi, and Toad before trouble inevitably happens and that Goomba that they gave the scepter to starts to act strange. It seems happy? So happy, in fact, that it twirls the scepter, which in turn unleashes a wave of emotions that overtakes, everyone. Everyone's either happy, crying, or downright ticked off. We take a look back at the Mushroom Kingdom where a rave of some sort is happening. And Peach, along with a Toad and Toadsworth, are like, what in the name of Billy Bob Thornton's Corinthian leather couch is going on here? Oh, it's not a rave at all. It's the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom who have lost all control of their emotions. No doubt all because of that Vibe Scepter. Amongst all the confusion, one of the Toad companions points out a letter that was left by Bowser, proudly gloating that he had captured Mario. Aw, poor Luigi. Can't even get top billing and a ransom note. I feel you, man. Obviously fed up by this whole scenario, Peach bolts out there without saying a word. I assume she's pulling a Mario, whereas when he's the main character of any sort of story-driven narrative, he kind of sticks to responding in catchphrases and mildly offensive fake Italian. This leads to a bit of heart-to-heart that Peach has with Toadsworth. They're having that in the top part of the screen, while in the bottom part of the screen, it tasks you to push Toads out of the way for, reasons. Get back! Back, you emotionally charged savages! I mean, as far as I can tell, there's like no real penalty for ignoring the bottom screen if you want to know what's going up narratively on the top screen. I don't know, it seems like an odd choice. But I suppose this was during an era of Nintendo where there were really writing designers to make everything touchable. You've got to make sure that the touchscreen is almost in play, even if it's something boring and passable, like shoving Toads off screen. Well, not to mention, this is where Peach's special item and, I guess, companion gets introduced, via being given by Toadsworth. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa! What the hell is that? Is that a talking umbrella? A talking umbrella with a face that looks like a Kirby that got chopped in half? Damn, Toadsworth, you're more hardcore than I ever gave you credit for. Alright, now with the stage set, you're tossed into the world map, and it's time for Peach to start her first solo game. It pretty much controls like most Mario platformers. You run, you jump, you thwack things with your sentient nightmare umbrella, and you collect coins. The game also tells you that in each stage there are 3 hidden Toads, which, I don't know if you get any kind of bonus for finding them all, so I guess it's the game's version of achievements. You know, find all the Toads and basically get 100% in your game playthrough. Woo! The neat thing about that, though, is that the game actually tells you when there's a Toad in any given stage that you're in. Princess Peach will do a little gesture to signify that, oh, there's a Toad nearby. Apparently she's got spider senses for little mushroom people. I kind of found that out on my own because, you know, the game really doesn't tell you. I suppose it's not that cryptic, but still, it would have been nice to have the game all of a sudden say, hey, by the way, Princess Peach does a little thingamabob to tell you that when, you know, something is nearby. She does that not just for Toad, she does that for, like, any hidden item like a puzzle piece or an unlockable song, anything like that. And a little farther along is where we get introduced to Peach's vibe powers, because, you know, being on the island grants her such things apparently. What exactly are vibe powers? Well, you know those 4 hearts that float around Peach at the bottom of the screen? Yeah? Well, they do stuff. The red heart makes Peach angry, giving her fire and increased strength. The yellow heart makes her happy and able to fly through the air. Blue heart makes her cry but also gives her a water ability, and the green one simply recovers health. There are certain stages that require you to use your newly found abilities to progress further into the stage, or to unlock any number of given secrets. Though you gotta be mindful because your new powers have a limit, and that limit is indicated by the little wavy meter under your health bar. Though you can replenish this meter by getting diamonds and by letting your umbrella eat enemies. Princess Peach's sentient umbrella, who closes on her and traps her for fun as an idle animation, that thing eats enemies for sustenance. Well, but hey, at least coins in this game are a lot more useful than just being indicators about how many points you have. Coins in this game can actually get Peach special abilities that can be useful in playing through the stages. You can also buy puzzles, extra health, and even music from the game that you can listen to in its own little gallery. It's so adorable. Peach is on stage, on mic, even though none of the songs have lyrics, and Toadsworth is just shredding on that guitar. So the game itself, how is it? Well, it's a platformer through and through. You guide Princess Peach through various environments, getting from point A to point B. Pretty dang simple. And there's one of those games that doesn't actually utilize the touchscreen that much. There are some levels that do require it as part of the gameplay, you know, to activate those abilities that Peach has, but beyond that, that's about it. The first world is pretty much a breeze, almost a little too easy. I admit, never having played this game before, I was getting a little worried that not a lot of effort was put into it. You know, kind of like, man, let's make a platformer and slap Peach on it. Bam, we're done. I mean, it's Princess Peach's first game. The release date was early 2000s. You know, I think I was justified to be concerned.
I'm telling you, boyo, that woman should have stayed in the kitchen where she belongs. It's safe there, and she doesn't have to do any thinking other than to make food for the man in her life.
You need to shut up before I turn you into kindling. I swear to all the gods. It's a neat surprise that when you reach the last level of the first world, that's where the challenge starts to ramp up a bit. But not in the way that you'd expect in a traditional Mario game. For example, in this case, one of the last stages before the final boss, the game silently indicates that you have to remember the colors of mushrooms in a certain order. That's not the most challenging thing I've run into in a platformer, but it's a nice way to kind of make the gameplay a little varied. When you finally get to the final boss of La-Di-Da Plains, yes, that's what this place is called, it is none other than a familiar face, the face of P.T. Piranha. You know, one of the bosses from Super Mario Sunshine, except instead of goop, he spits out those little biting bastards from Super Mario Bros. 3. He yells out really loud, which pushes Peach away, and does shockwave moves that travel all across the stage that you have to jump over to avoid. How do you defeat him? You cry into his mouth. Well, you know, the super special vibe cry, which results in Peach crying waterfalls of water. This fills up P.T. Piranha's belly, causing him to fall down, and you have to jump on his stomach to deal damage at that point.
Why does it feel like someone from DeviantArt designed that boss battle?
I told you to stay out of that site, you'll go blind! Though in the defense of the game designers in this particular situation, this is pretty much how you defeat him back in Sunshine, so... yeah. We then go into the next world, which is called Whose Wood. It's pretty much the same as the last one, except it's more forest/wood themed. It's got also a nice cha-cha melody that serves as the world's background music. I like it. This is where puzzles that can only be solved by using your vibes become more prominent. They lead us to areas usually containing a neat unlockable or a toad. The boss turns out to be an original enemy called Whoo.
Wait, so what's his name?
Who?
The enemy you were talking about.
Who?
I said the enemy you were talking about. What is its name?
Who?
That routine is as old as I am, and I was around for the Great Depression.
After defeating a giant owl in Whose Wood, which is mostly consisting of dodging projectiles and flying up and booping it on its head until it's KO'd, Peach moves on to Shriek Mansion, where the enemies take on a more spooky tone, like boos and dry bones. Wait, what? Okay, now it tells you Princess Peach's little second sense thing? Might have been useful a while ago. Man, it's a good thing these toads aren't anything that I have to worry about.
That's called foreshadowing.
Alright, so I'm minding my own business, trying to survive the horrors of what a Nintendo Haunted Mansion can throw at me, when I encountered a huge caged boo. Then there's the Switch nearby, and, well, let's do a little assessment. What would you do? Would you A, leave it alone and go about your business, or B, hit that Switch and find out what it probably does and quickly regret your decision? If you went with A, congratulations! You're 10 times smarter than I will ever be! Because you know what I did? I hit the damn Switch! And boy, let me tell you, it was like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but with like a lot more of me screaming. But then, as far as I can tell, a first happens. Peach legit kills the boo! Well, okay, I don't think she really killed the thing, just kind of led it towards the light, like some sort of bloated moth, and it kind of just gave up on life. I was like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking, but I guess I'm done now. It's okay, Boo. I know how you feel. So you use its lifeless corpse to get to the edge that you wouldn't normally be able to get to without it, so in the end you had to press the button, but, you know, I like how I didn't look at other possible options beforehand. I'm a smart gamer. Whoa, wait, hang on a second. I can touch the Boo? Peach can touch the Boo, use it, and to hop on that ledge that she couldn't reach beforehand? I thought touching a Boo would have killed you. In any other instances, it would kill you. Chip, I need you to research ghost lore from the Mario universe and get me some answers.
No.
Okay, fine. Would you at least get me a glass of water? I've been talking for a while.
I'll think about it.
Oh, you're killing me over here, man. Oh, sweet merciful heavens! Why are there so many ghosts? Help! Oh, reverse Boos, huh? You're gonna chase me if I look at you? This is more of a nightmare than I was expecting out of a Princess Peach game. Speaking of nightmares, there's a bunch of doors that you've got to go through where only one leads to the correct next door. Of course, there's no way to tell which one's which, so the only way to figure it out is through trial and error. I hated this part. I am no longer reading from a script. I hated this part. The game designers can eat a cactus for lunch. When you finally reach the boss, it's against none other than King Boo himself. This boss battle is a bit more involved than the other ones so far. You gotta run around lighting up snuffed out torches since it's the only way that King Boo can be affected by the light that they emit. Once they're all lit, King Boo gets a bit of damage. Oh man, I gotta be thinking on my feet a lot more here, but thankfully breaking the constantly respawning chandelier in the middle of the room provides a crystal that'll help me replenish my vibe meter if I'm running low. By the time I got to Fury Volcano, basically the next world, things started to get surprisingly harder. Had to actually be mindful of where I was platforming. Though I have to say it gets a little unfair in certain parts. Like, you've got an auto-scroll stage that goes from down to up, and you have to keep ahead of it, otherwise when you hit the bottom, you lose a hard portion and you have to start from the beginning. So at least the life system is pretty fair. And you can always upgrade the number of hearts that you have at the store, once you have enough coins. While there isn't a life count in the game, there are consequences. If you lose all your hearts, you get tossed back to the world map and will have to start the stage all over again from the very beginning. But worst, and absolutely worst of all in this game, in any other game ever to exist, you make Princess Peach cry if that happens. Oh my god. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I just suck at platforming. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Seems to me like this all could have been avoided if she had just stayed at home, where she belongs. Let that be a lesson.
That's it. Get over here. Get over here, you overgrown, stupid, inanimate object.
Egad!
Your arrow is constantly seen with rose-tinted glasses! So at this point of the game, I'm having a little trouble. Typically, before you start a boss stage, you have to do a whole touchscreen minigame thing. One of the few times where the game controls and mechanics are solely on the touchscreen. And let me tell you, it can get pretty tough. In these sections, you gotta do things like tap obstacles to keep them from hitting Peach on the top screen, which can be a real pain unless you're a really fast tapper. I am not a fast tapper. When you get to the end of Fury Volcano, you gotta defeat a giant wiggler. Can't just bop him on the head. I mean, what are you, little bunny foo-foo?
A nursery rhyme joke? Really, boss?
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Anyways, you gotta use your Princess Rage to stomp down on stone columns, which retract for a moment before springing outwards, flipping the wiggler on its back. You then have to hop on a particular part of its body in order to do damage. You also have a bit of a time limit, so if you don't do it in time, it's gonna flip back over and act as if nothing happened. We then move on to Wavy Beach. As you can probably guess, this is all beach themed, with lots of water-related environments. Perry gets a new ability in this world too, called Subrella. Now the magic umbrella can turn into a personal submarine. The downside? Well, you're incredibly vulnerable to the point where you can't do anything to defend yourself. I'm going off script again because this is one of my least favorite parts of the game. You cannot do anything when you're in this mode. All you can do is move up, down, left, right, there's nothing to defend yourself with. There are some aspects of the stage where you go into a corridor and there's no way to avoid damage. Come on, you gotta give us tools to defend ourselves, or at the very least, make a little nook and cranny to avoid a stupid fish that looks like goddamn fucking... Alright, I'm fine. Also, there's a new way to solve some puzzles. Beach balls!
98.6 degrees.
Chip, what are you doing?
Taking your temperature. You're talking nonsense.
No, I'm fine, look! Peach has gotta thwack beach balls in order to bounce them off squares until they disappear. You know, kinda like Breakout. Woohoo! Catch a wave and you're sitting on top of the world. Although, it does feel like some spots are just unreasonable. Whoa! Ah! Oh, come on, I was nowhere near that fish! Oh, why are there two Lakitus? Holy Mother of Gouda! Also, how in the heck is someone supposed to know that there's something down there without looking it up? I mean, there are tons of these. Same for the bottomless pits. That's one of my gripes with the game at this point. Hiding things off screen, and the only way to find out is by trial and error. I know it's not like the worst thing in the world, but it is the principle of the thing. Eventually, we reach the boss for this world, Gooper Blooper, another Mario Sunshine alumni. In this fight, we gotta bash the huge Blooper's tentacles before they can lunge out at us and either bop us on the head or grab us and throttle us before throwing us down. We gotta beat up each one of its tentacles, and then its little snoot appears, and then you gotta thwack it with your umbrella. Haven't been able to jump on it. Do that enough times, and Gooper Blooper is defeated. Now, one thing that I've neglected to mention is that every time you defeat a boss, before you move on to the next world, you get a little cinematic of sorts. Peach and Perry seem to be camping overnight while Perry is having a little dream on the top screen. Each time, it's the same visuals, and it has Perry slowly remembering things, seemingly what happened to him and his grandfather, I think. In all the memories, Perry seems to be asleep outside, and his grandpa finds him and then offers to give him a place to stay. But they're then confronted by two shadowy figures wanting to capture one of them? Both of them? I don't know, it's not very clear. The only thing for sure is that Grandpa disappears and Perry finds himself turned into a parasol. Now, that's basically as far as we've gotten with these little daydream flashbacks. That's why I didn't mention it up until now. Moving on to the next world, we've got Gleam Glacier, and it's all ice, baby. Cold enemies, cold elements, and some unique puzzles centered around ice and snow make up this new world. Now, there's not much else about it that, I can think of, so we can move on to the boss herself, Blizzarus. Yet another original enemy for the game. She's got an ice shield that you're gonna have to try to melt through with your rage vibe, which is helpful because you can keep it activated and do a little bit of damage before you have to start tuck and rolling. Burn her enough times, and it's how to fricassee your dragon up in here. And now we move on to the 7th world, Giddy Sky.
Ooh, are we gonna see Mallow from Super Mario RPG?
No, my computerized companion, no. You're thinking of Nimbus Land. This is Giddy Sky. Though not unlike Nimbus Land, Giddy Sky is pretty much a world that's up in the clouds. Though there aren't any friendly cloud citizens to greet us, only pain. Oh god, it turned into a dark and stormy night. Look, as long as none of those lightning bolts hit me like the clock tower in Hill Valley, I'm fine. Things have become peak platforming here because it's mostly hopping platform to platform with so many bottomless pits. I think I can safely say at this point things are becoming a bit of a challenge. So we gotta contest with gusty winds, huge bullet bills, and hot air balloons that are fueled with anger. Cause Peach's anger vibe generates fire. Silly but creative. I'm starting to miss Gleam Glacier. And at the very end of this world, we fight yet another boss. Except this is the last boss before we presumably tackle the 8th and last world. We gotta fight a giant Kamek.
Wait, seriously? Did they run out of names?
No, yeah, I got nothing for this one. I guess they ran out of creativity. This one requires Peach to use the Joy Vibe to spin on Kamek's face to make him dizzy, allowing for Peach to bop his head. Now, this one is a bit of a toughie because unlike the other boss battles, it's a bit harder to refill the vibe meter in this case. You gotta wait till Giant Kamek summons other smaller Kameks who you can hop on or smash with your umbrella and steal the little diamonds they have to refill your meter. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck. After defeating the oversized wizard, we finally get the full picture in regards to Perry's story. A narrator, or Perry, describes things in detail instead of giving us a vague explanation. Perry was a young boy who lived out on his own, outdoors, somewhere, presumably somewhere on Vibe Island, if not somewhere near there, and he was discovered by an old man who offered to let Perry live with him. The two of them then lived together for a while, with Perry enjoying the company of the old man, and the old man finding it nice to not live alone anymore. They were then accosted by two mysterious figures, one of them being a wizard and the other some sort of large monstrosity. They seemed to kidnap both the old man and the boy, but not before turning the boy into an umbrella. And somehow just dropping the umbrella on the ground as they leave. I'm still confused about that part. Anyway, a merchant finds him afterwards, and even though at that point Perry couldn't verbally speak, he was thinking very, very strongly. So much so that the merchant felt those thoughts and felt compelled to take him. Once at the merchant's shop, after a non-disclosed period of time, the merchant offers to give away the umbrella to Toadsworth for free, since he hasn't been able to sell it. Once Toadsworth takes the umbrella to Peach, at that point the face just all of a sudden appears, and well, the game starts. Wow, what a backstory. I honestly don't know what to say. Well, that's okay, because now we finally got to the last world, Bowser's Villa. Things don't get easier in this last world, although at least there are a lot less bottomless pits since we're not high up in the sky anymore. Peach gets the red carpet rolled out with not just enemies, but a ton of environmental hazards, reminiscent of old Mario games yet again. Oh, not again, please! A room with dozens of doors and I gotta figure out which one to go into to move forward, not again! These mother-flippin' platforms that disappear the moment you touch them makes it impossible to do any sort of platforming whatsoever. You don't understand. You don't understand. You jump on them and you gotta tap the jump button at the right time. If you do it too soon, you fall. If you do it too late, you float. You'd have to do it at the precise right time, but it's hard to gauge when that right time is because they disappear so fast. Okay. No, we made it. We're in. We got here. All right. Now, I'm sorry, what? What? I got it. I gotta save all the toads? You mean I gotta go back to all the stages that I've played thus far and rescue all the toads that I haven't rescued yet? So rescuing the toads plays a pivotal part of beating the game. In fact, you can't beat the game unless you rescue all the toads.
I'm afraid so, boss.
When was this?
Now see, if you are playing a game with an actual man as a lead character, you wouldn't be going through all of this nonsense. Come on now, we all know women are only good for looking at, having children, and cooking.
You know, I sincerely believe that shutting up is not in the realm of possibility for you, is it? Okay, fine, game, fine. I'm going back and rescuing all the damn toads. Jeez, how was I supposed to know that? It's not like the game tells you that from the get-go.
Well, not the game itself, but,
Oh, no. No, don't tell me. Curse you, instruction manuals! Honestly, I'm gonna have to start reading these damn things from the beginning before I even start recording any footage for the games. All right, fine. Here we go. Okay, alright, okay, god damn it, alright. I got all the toads. Now it's time to play the last stage. Peach confronts Bowser, but apparently an uppity Hammer brother, presumably the one from the beginning of the game who actually ties up Mario, belittles the princess and offers to, take her out? Wait, wasn't this overgrown lizard trying to capture Peach, like, for the past 18 years? And now you're just gonna offer? Look, I don't know what's going on, but I think it's safe to say that's a pretty awful guy right there. After Bowser ascends to the heavens, you can't always get what you want. The battle begins. And boy, let me tell you, this is one annoying battle because not only is that Hammer brother annoyingly beefy, needing to be hit a bunch of times in order to get defeated, but he also summons a bunch of normal Hammer brothers. He also leaps around like a goddamn Superman. Thankfully, all you gotta do is get close and thwack him with your umbrella a couple of times. This, of course, leads to the final battle with Bowser himself. Again, just belittling Peach just a tiny bit before opting to fight her. Jeez, it's just so jarring to see Bowser trying to fight Peach. This one is toughie as well because Bowser, of course, has two forms, because why wouldn't he? In the first one, he does a lot of attacks that pertain to different vibes since, he had the Vibe Wand. After an intense battle where timing is everything, Peach defeats Bowser in a brutal coup de grace.
You mean she used her umbrella to punt him like a golf ball?
Like I said, absolutely brutal. Oh man, I forgot Luigi was kind of the butt to a lot of jokes back then. Poor guy, let him celebrate, he got free like everyone else. Mow him over. Then our intrepid heroes walk down a path and we get some of the most awkward ending dialogue I've ever seen in any video game. The Vibe Scepter has strange and mysterious powers, that's for sure. So how did you feel about the last adventure? One thing about that scepter, no one knows who created it or why, but somewhere, someone might possibly be using it right now. What? Your dad got mad at you the other day, you say? Your mom's been laughing happily a lot? Maybe, just maybe, the Vibe Scepter is hidden away in your house somewhere. What the hell was that? Okay, like, I get the whole heroes walking off into the sunset. That's a given. But what was all that dialogue for? Are we the player involved somehow? Like, no, seriously, I need to know. Because I'm not about to have some sort of random thing called a Vibe Scepter interfering with my life. I've got enough going on as is. Plus, who knows where that thing's been? Oh, hey look, we unlocked a new ability. Wait a second. A new ability? But the game's over.
Maybe it's a treat for beating the game.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
What's the matter, boss? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Worse! According to the bottom of the screen, I unlocked new stages. They get harder. And apparently, it's telling me to clear all the minigames, levels, and puzzles for a gift. Oh, good. So, if you go back to the world map, after that screen, you'll see that everything has been cleared, as if you've never beaten them. Not only that, but apparently you can unlock 3 new stages in each world. As far as I can tell, You don't gotta rescue all the toads, but the game expects you to find like a puzzle piece or two in each one in order to get that star to indicate that you beat the stage. Even though I got them all last time, it wants you to do it again in both the new and old stages.
Well, it's too bad this video's gone long enough. It looks like if you want to find out what those gifts are, you've got to play it yourself.
No.
Wait, no?
No.
Boss, you can't be serious. This video's long enough.
I said no, goddammit! I owe it to Princess Peach. Too long has her character been considered a simple damsel in distress. For 38 years, she hasn't been taken seriously, so I owe it to the first princess in a video game that I ever saved to play this to completion.
Boss, you're a madman.
Oh, I'm not a madman, Chip. I simply have too much free time on my hands. So I've spent nearly an additional week playing every single stage all over again. This time looking for puzzle pieces instead of toads. And I beat the 3 additional stages that unlocked after beating the game the first time. Hell yeah, I've done it. I've beaten the game twice in a row. And to the victor goes the spoils. Lay it on me! What happened? What's going on? The game ended the same way again. There's nothing new or anything. Did I forget something?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I don't like uh-oh. What are you uh-ohing about over there?
As far as I can tell, there is no super secret ending. Doing all of that gives you something called endless fever, which I can only assume means using your emotions without having to worry about your vibe meter.
That's it? After all that I just unlock infinite emotion mode? Well, what about the mysterious option? When you're looking at the cinematics, what the hell is up with not telling us the rest of the story for that umbrella boy?
Well, beats me, boss. There's barely enough information online about this game, let alone information about specific unlockables.
Oh my god! That's it. No more. I'm done. That's it. No, I can't. I'm done. I did everything I possibly could. And now I've got it that you think that doing the mini games and the puzzles stuff is easy? No, that easily adds on. You're these are gimmick games, man. You gotta blow into the microphone for some of these. You gotta tap and touch screen your way out of a fiery death, and it's just, oh my god, they just get harder and harder, and then some of them, it just doesn't feel like there's a feasible way to get beyond like a certain level. Like when you get to level 7, I'm done.
Wow, the dame made it? Color me surprised. I could have sworn she would have stopped ages ago to talk on the phone or to paint her nails.
All right, that's it. I have had enough of you, and no more of these bit things where I just say that that's the case and then I go away and then come back and you're still here. No. Chip, activate the airlock.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Uh-oh.
Get out of my hub.
Well, that's one way to solve the problem.
You know, kind of feels nice. Okay, so there you have it. Super Princess Peach. Aside from being a huge headache if you happen to want to try to 100% the damn thing, it's actually a pretty solid platformer. I mean, you've got your ups and downs, me trying to beat the game for secrets to no avail aside, but this is definitely more than just some gimmick of a platformer. This is a downright fun game to play, and I'm kind of sad that it didn't get a lot of hype when it was first released. I can only guess that it was because of the general assumption of what a Princess Peach game could be just by the optics. It was judged by the cover and not so much for the sum of its parts. Anyway, if you can, I'd strongly recommend giving it a spin if you've got a DS. Oh, and not to mention, stay on the lookout for the new game, Princess Peach Showtime, coming to the Switch. Okay, alright, that's more than enough for me, I think. I think I've earned a nap. Like the kind of naps you take where you don't set an alarm, so you go to sleep when you wake up the next day in an undisclosed time, and you wake it up and you're like, oh, what year is it? What century did I wake up in? Oh yeah, I love those naps. Thank you all for watching. Remember to subscribe to know when the next video comes out, and make sure to hit that bell since I think that helps with the alerting system or something. But remember, above all,
Stay safe and keep on gaming.
You think you can get rid of me that easily, do you? Greater forces than you could ever fathom have attempted and failed to even get me to the brink of destruction. And you, a pathetic flesh puppet, think you can best me? You don't know who you're messing with, kid. But mark my words, I aim to make you and your little robot buddy there find out. I will pluck out every thread of your existence, little by little, bit by bit, until you can no longer cry out in anguish. And when your voices give out and you cling to a single shred of life, I'll crush it back together and I'll start all over again. It will be delicious.